Welcome to Bible Answers Now. Have you ever wondered how we can find joy when everything around us seems chaotic? With all the troubles in the world, it can be hard to hold on to peace and joy. But today, we're diving into a powerful verse from Nehemiah 8:10 that holds the secret to finding strength and joy even in difficult times. So let's explore how Nehemiah's message can apply to our modern lives, no matter what struggles we face. In Nehemiah 8 verse 10, we find a remarkable statement. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. This verse speaks volumes, especially when we're surrounded by challenges, whether personal, societal, or global. But what exactly does this mean for us today? Let's break it down, starting with the context of the verse. Nehemiah 8 takes place when the Israelites have just returned from exile. They're facing a difficult rebuilding process, both physically and spiritually. The people are hearing the law read aloud for the first time in years, and they begin to weep, overwhelmed by their past mistakes and the enormity of the task ahead. But Nehemiah, along with the priests, tells them, "Do not mourn or weep. The joy of the Lord is your strength." They are instructed to celebrate, to feast, and to enjoy the provisions God has given them, for this joy will give them the strength they need to face the challenges ahead. In this ancient moment, we find a timeless truth. Joy in the Lord is not dependent on our circumstances, but is a source of strength in the midst of them. Let's turn to some more scriptures that help reinforce this message. In James 1:2-4, we're told, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." James, like Nehemiah, invites us to view trials through a different lens, not as obstacles to our peace, but as opportunities for growth. The joy that comes from knowing God and trusting in His purpose for our lives transforms the way we face difficulties. Then there's Philippians 4:4, where Paul says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice." Paul, writing from prison, encourages the Philippians and us to rejoice in the Lord, not because our circumstances are ideal, but because the Lord Himself is unchanging and our ultimate source of joy. This joy strengthens us to keep going, even when everything around us seems uncertain. Isaiah 40:31 gives us a beautiful promise, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This verse reminds us that the strength we receive from the Lord is not just for surviving tough times, but for thriving through them. When we turn to God, He renews our energy, and that joy becomes our sustaining power. Let's take a moment to reflect. How often do we let our circumstances dictate our joy? It's easy to do, right? When everything's going well, joy comes naturally. But what about when life is hard? The beauty of Nehemiah 8 verse 10 is that it challenges us to find joy in the Lord. Not in our circumstances, but in God's faithfulness, His promises, and His unwavering love. And in 2 Corinthians 12:9, we find a powerful truth. "But He said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me.'" Here, Paul shows us that even in our weaknesses, when we feel depleted and overwhelmed, God's strength is made perfect. His grace is sufficient to carry us through. When we rejoice in His strength, we don't just survive hardship, we discover that His power works in and through us. Now let's think practically about how to apply this in our lives. In a world full of uncertainty, we can actively choose to celebrate God's goodness every day. That might look like pausing to thank Him for a simple blessing, even when everything else feels out of control. Or it could mean offering a prayer of praise when you're struggling, choosing to focus on God's love and faithfulness instead of the weight of the world's problems. And when you feel drained, remember that His joy is your strength. Take time to reconnect with God, whether through prayer, reading scripture, or just sitting in quiet reflection, trusting that His presence will renew your spirit. So how does Nehemiah 8 verse 10 apply to our modern context? It tells us that despite external troubles, the joy of the Lord can still be our strength. This isn't about ignoring reality, but about choosing to find our source of joy in God's eternal love and His promises. When we do this, we are empowered to face challenges with a heart full of peace and strength that only God can provide. I encourage you today, no matter where you are or what you're facing, take a moment to reflect on the joy of the Lord. Let it be your strength. Rejoice in His goodness, His grace, and His faithfulness. And remember, just like the Israelites in Nehemiah's time, we too can face our challenges with joy, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. What's your favorite verse for comfort? Share it in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation and encourage each other with the joy that only the Lord can provide. Be sure to like and subscribe so we can explore more Bible answers together. And remember, may God bless you and your loved ones with His joy and strength today and always.